back, everyone. Hopefully you all enjoyed the workshops and were able to connect and share. Well, it's that time. We have come to the closing portion of the rural seminar, but don't log off just yet, as we still need to hear from a few key speakers and sponsors of Rural LISC, and we will also be sharing some truly inspirational stories from Clarksdale, Mississippi. Up now, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Tim Rios, a wonderful rural champion and the Senior Vice President for Wells Fargo's Social Impact and Sustainability Group. Tim is responsible for implementing Wells' rural and Native American strategic and philanthropic initiatives. A 23-year Wells Fargo veteran, Tim has held various positions throughout the course of his career at the company, including positions in retail, wholesale, and business banking. Welcome, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? All right. Okay. Well, thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tim Rios, as Kate said, and I have the privilege to lead Wells Fargo's Native and Rural Strategy. And it's an honor to be here with all of you and to be invited to say a few words on behalf of Wells Fargo. I would like to thank you, Kate, and your team, in particular Nadia Villagran, for being so open and helpful in the last few months in particular. We're very proud of our relationship with LISC and also the many organizations that are out there listening and paying attention to this really great seminar. Like some of you, or perhaps many of you, my beginnings were also in rural. I was born in a little ranch outside of Zacatecas, Nochistlán, Zacatecas in Mexico, which itself was a little place, almost like a little place within a little place. When we immigrated here in the 1980s, we settled in the town of Del Rey, population 1,250, maybe a little less now. We lived 3 miles from town, and my parents and us 6 kids worked the fields of the Central Valley in California. There wasn't much in Little Del Rey. There was a little grocery store, a gas station that opened for about 4 hours a day, and a K through 12 elementary school, which was like the heart of this little place. Our closest metropolis, the big city, was Sanger, population 16,000. It's where I got my first job working at McDonald's. I call it my first air-conditioned job. And it's also the place that gave me my first job in banking as a part-time teller, new accounts person at a little bank in Sanger. And I remember as part of my finance project in college, I did a study on access to capital and the financial habits of farm workers. And I walked into this branch with my little study, 20 years old, and I showed it to the branch manager. And I don't think she cared. I don't think she really cared much about the study. They were not into community economic development, but I did get the job. And I thank my rural roots, my rural jobs, and my rural opportunity for getting me to where I am today. And today I get to shape Wells Fargo's rural strategy and philanthropy, a job that I don't take lightly. Some of you may know that Wells Fargo has about 330 rural branches, including 57 of those in or near native lands and or in reservations. And we work with hundreds of organizations like LISC and many of those present today on issues of all types, including affordable housing, small business growth, financial health, and also environmental sustainability, to name a few. Rural families and small businesses give so much to our country and our world. We grow food, produce goods that keep urban areas going. Nonetheless, rural towns and cities face unique challenges, and we must all address those. And we've learned what many of those are in the last couple of days as part of this seminar. In particular, our persistent poverty areas are places that we really have to hone in on and do more work in, and I've learned are some of the areas that are the most challenged and often have the least help, the least philanthropy, and often the organizations without the scale to do what they want to do. So we've got to be mindful of that. In other words, there's a lot for us to do. I'd like to recognize a couple of my colleagues for championing so much of our work at Wells Fargo, in particular, Eileen Stenerson, who serves on the advisory board for Rural LISC. I want to call her out, but also a few others, Eileen Fitzgerald, Connie Wright, Bonnie Wallace, Jenny Flores, and Mary Wenzel for leading so much of our critical work at Wells Fargo. I'll end with this, that in 1855, a newspaper published this about our company. It said, Wells Fargo is extending its business everywhere there is a possible opening, and to many places where there was none until they cut the way. This was written 3 years into our history. As some of you know, we started in 1852. I go back to it often because it reminds me that not only was rural important in my own beginnings, it's also where Wells Fargo paved paths early in its history. Again, thank you, our friends at LISC, Kate, thank you so much for the many years of partnership and collaboration, and congratulations on this very successful event and seminar. It reminds us, and I think we've heard that this over and over in the last couple of days, just how important it is that we continue this crucial work. Thanks again, and have a great rest of the week.
Find the mute button. Thank you so much, Tim, for those really kind words. We so value the partnership we have with Wells and the investment that you've been making, not just in rural LISC, but throughout all of our rural communities nationally. So thank you again for all the work that you do day in and day out. Now at this time, I'd like to introduce yet another rural champion, Mr. Kim Davis. Kim is the Senior Advisor of the Home Region team for the Walton Family Foundation. Kim is responsible for leading the Walton Family Foundation's work in the Arkansas and the Mississippi Delta. Before joining the foundation, Kim was the Director of External Relations and Economic Development for the Northwest Arkansas Council, a regional economic development organization. Kim also serves on the Arkansas State Board of Education and is a Presidential Leader Scholar. Kim, thank you so much for being with us here today.
Kate, I can't thank you enough for providing me this opportunity just to say a few words. First of all, I want to echo what Tim said about offering congratulations to Rural LISC and the team for this amazing seminar. There has been such a diversity of thought. I've made some connections with partners that I had not been aware of, or I had not had the opportunity to engage. And I'm looking forward to building upon the work that we've sort of learned here over the last couple of days. As you sort of know, it's going to take some time for those of us who kind of took it all in to decompress a little bit. But I can tell you, I'm excited about what everyone who's participated in this is bringing forth to rural communities across America. I also want to thank you and say, this is really special to someone like me. I am the son of a father who grew up in New Roads, Louisiana, which I like to say there hasn't been a new road built there since 1960, and a mother from Sulphur, Louisiana. Sulphur is right outside of Lake Charles, right? So for us, Tim, going to Lake Charles was the big city when I visited during the summer. And those places left such a favorable impression upon me and grounded me in the importance of community, the importance of family, and the importance of neighboring, right? Working with others to accomplish certain goals. And so for me, if we're not supporting rural communities and all that they've given to us, we're missing the boat. I want to take you to a place that I've grown to know and love. It's a special place for me, in all honesty, Clarksdale, Mississippi. I think of the Delta as my land of Oz. And as you know, in the land of Oz, there were yellow brick roads. Well, in the Delta, we like to think of the dirt roads that we have that Miranda on and on and on for miles and miles. We think about the poppy fields in the Wizard of Oz, and their cotton fields in the land of Oz. And instead of the Emerald City, right, there's the Kudzu City in the Delta, where Kudzu sort of takes the shape of whatever it covers and gives it this amazing green glow. So that's the place that I kind of really connect with. It's where I find my peace. It's a rural community. It's a special place. And hopefully this video will give you just a little bit of insight into an amazing place that if you haven't visited, you should. And if you have, let's meet together and have a cup of coffee in Clarksdale, Mississippi.
This is the List 2021 Video Partner Showcase. Take one.
My name is Ann Williams, and I run the Travelers Hotel. Clarksdale is a fascinating community.
When I first got the job offer to come to Clarksdale, first thing I did is I pulled it up on Wikipedia. And if you've ever read about Clarksdale on Wikipedia, it's a little depressing. I mean, it's the declining populations, it's the poor healthcare, bad education. I mean, it's these quantifiable statistics that we all know so well. It's easy because you can walk down the street and you can count the number of empty buildings. You can put numbers to these negative quantifiable things. But what's right is a lot harder to describe. It's something you really have to experience. It's the people, it's the community, it's the culture, it's the history. It's so much, and it's all underneath the surface, but it's really one of those things that when you come down and you start interacting and you really engage with the community, you start to realize that there's something very unique and special about this place.
It's been a community in decline for a long, long time, and I feel like there's this fragile momentum building in Clarksdale right now where things are gradually, incrementally getting better and better, and people are really excited about that.
When I first got to Clarksdale, it was really just the creative energy, the creative force that seemed like it was all around me. From the history of everybody who lived here and went through tragedy and turned it into a creative triumph, and it has, furthermore influenced the whole world, that, it was contagious, and it just drew me in, and I felt like I needed to experience it.
Travelers Hotel has become a place where locals can come in and interact with guests from all over the world. It gives guests from all over the world the ability to really know what it's like to be a Clarksdalian, and I think for that we've seen a lot of benefit in the community. One of the challenges of doing a hotel this size in a community that's been traditionally in decline is finding the resources to make it all happen. We were so thrilled when we came across this opportunity with LISC to bring in the financing that we needed to make the project happen. Without this low interest loan, I can't imagine that we would be anywhere near the shape that we're in right now.
As an artist in residence, I work about 20 hours a week at the store and at the hotel. All the time outside of that 20 hours gives me a lot of time to focus on my own creative future. I have a studio space upstairs for 2D work, and I have a studio space out here in the courtyard for 3D work. And just not having to worry about paying for rent and stuff like that gives me more opportunity to focus on my work.
Griot Arts started out as just an after-school arts program and really evolved over the years to try and meet the needs of the students. And back in 2014, we expanded into a new job training program we call Meraki.
Meraki has impacted my life in a lot of ways. When I first got involved with Meraki, I was coming out of a deep depression. Ben really changed my perspective on a lot of things, built up a lot of confidence over time, and I became more and more comfortable with talking to people.
Meraki was created out of an activity we did in our after-school arts program called town hall meetings. Town hall meetings were intended to be a time for the students in our program to talk about their community. It was a very student-driven conversation. And back in 2014, two themes kept emerging out of every town hall meeting. The first one was, we have no place to hang out. I think this is a typical rural issue, is what do you do outside of your house, outside of school? The second theme that kept arising was a little bit more of a surprise. These youth were sitting here telling us we want to provide for ourselves, we want to provide for our families, we want to be successful, but we're struggling. Fast forward over the next couple of years, we end up developing what we see now is Meraki Workforce Development Program. We run a cafe/coffee roastery that we use as a practical learning environment to work with young adults on both hard skill and soft skill development.
Ben paid for me to go through roasting school, thousands of dollars out of his own pocket for me to go through roasting school to get better at what I do. Coming from a small town like Clarksdale, programs like this really give me the opportunity to grow.
I believe it's really important to invest in our rural communities, and specifically the Delta, because so much of our culture, history, heritage in the US can be traced back to this region.
I think that it's just paramount to lift those communities up, because if they're not exposed, if they don't have a voice, then there's just, so many missed opportunities, so many, would-be B.B. Kings, would-be Mississippi John Hurts, would-be John Lee Hookers that would be forgotten if they hadn't had exposure. So I think, the work that Ruralisk is doing, the work that we're doing, I think it aligns, and I'm really proud to be a part of it.
By coming in and rebuilding these communities, you're giving such a needed boost to folks that have great ideas. They want their communities to be better, but the resources just haven't been here. These are where real people live, real people who sit on their porches and talk to each other. We know our neighbors, we know our neighbors' kids.
So much of the Delta has such a divided history that we really want to be a space in which people can come together and learn from each other and develop relationships. And I really believe that's our biggest impact in this community, is to create those bridges for people to learn from each other.
Ruralisk supports resilient and inclusive rural communities like Clarksdale as great places to live, work, play, and innovate. We've leveraged nearly $3.3 billion from public and private sources to support more than 140 rural community-based organizations, produce 35,000 affordable homes, create 4 million square feet of commercial and community space, assist 700 businesses, and create 12,000 jobs across 49 states and Puerto Rico. Visit our website to learn more.
Kim, thank you so much for introducing Clarksdale to all of us. I mean, every time I see the Clarksdale video, I just want to get out of my chair and just like scream, right? It's just such an amazing story. And the type of work that they're doing is exactly what we've been talking about, right? It's a sort of transformational work that just really goes a distance for all of our communities. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with all the other community development folks out there, but this work is not easy, right? Especially in our rural communities. It's long-term, it's tough work, but it's transformational. And it is so important, all the investment that we do day in and day out, and coming together as part of Rural Seminar really is just that much more important, because it gives us the point to connect and to share and to purposefully collide and exchange information on how we can really have as much impact as possible in our communities. So I love that story so much. So again, I wish we could have all been in person in Clarksdale to experience all of these amazing partner groups, but hopefully we'll be able to do that next year. Nonetheless, thank you all for being part and for sharing in that video with us. And Kim, again, thank you for everything that you do with Walton Family Foundation, for investing in the Delta, and Tim, for you and the team at Wells and your commitment to rural. It's incredible. And we look forward to collaborations in many years to come. So just kind of winding down on a very, very fun note, we have actually some winners of the Scavenger Hunt. Quite a few winners, in fact. So if you collected over 2,000 points on the Scavenger Hunt, you are now the sole owner of a Ruralisk coffee press and coffee from Clarksdale, Mississippi. So all of that will be coming your way shortly. Congratulations to all of our Scavenger Hunt participants. And before we sign off, and again, thank you all for staying with us throughout the day, I would be completely remiss if I did not really acknowledge some of our most recent staff activity. For those of you who are not new to Rural Seminar or Ruralisk, you've known our staff members for decades, in fact. And this year we've had quite a few retirements this year and also last year. And I really just want to give a shout out to these individuals that have been so committed to the Ruralisk team for many, many years. And their contributions are ones that will make a mark for a lifetime. So to Sue Feltz, Andy Savidra, Jessica Boykin, Michael Carroll, and Bob Reeder, thank you so much for your commitment to the Ruralisk team. You will be so missed, but you will not be forgotten, and please stay in touch. We just think the world of you. Thank you again for everything that you've done. And just a final thanks to all of our sponsors, our partners, our allies, and our colleagues who have all helped make Rule List what we are today and how we hope to grow into tomorrow. And finally, a giant thank you to the One List collaboration. For those of you that have not yet done a virtual event, you will soon learn that it takes an absolute village. You cannot do this alone, and you learn all types of new skills. So to the One List IT team and to the One List collaboration, thank you for everything that you did to make today's event and the past 2 days event a true success. So with that, I hope you've all enjoyed Rule Seminar. We look forward to seeing you back in person next year. Please stay in touch. Please keep the communication going online and virtually, and also feel free to reach out to any of our team members. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you next year. Take care, everybody.